yours with hosts and guests who look and sound like you. Celebrating our second anniversary on Juneteenth. We're KBLA Talk 1580. And you ain't seen nothing yet.
In this prison of seclusion, happiness living on the streets is a delusion. Even a smooth criminal one day must get away. All I need is a G and somewhere safe to stay. Kicking, thinking about what the streets do to me, cause they never taught peace in the black community. All we know is violence, do the job in silence. Walk the city streets like a rat pack of tyrants. Too many brothers daily headed for the big pen. Again, coming out worse off than when they went in. Over the years I've done a lot of growing up. Get drunk, throwing up, cuffed up. Then I said I had enough. There must be another route, way out to money and fame. I changed my name, played a different game. Tired of being trapped in this vicious cycle. And one more I just might go psycho. And when I get up trapped in my own community, when only a lunatic would like to see a horse. Yo, if you're smart, you really let me go G. But keep me cooped up in this ghetto and catch the Uzi. They got me trapped. They can't keep the black man down.
Rest in peace. Good morning. Let's talk about it. 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. Man, it was a great day on the Walk of Fame. It was nice to connect with people I hadn't seen, some in over 10 years, and just celebrate the life and legacy of Tupac Shakur during Gemini season. Feels good. Well, we do have a lot to talk about today. The former president, Donald Trump, has been indicted on 7 counts in the special counsel's classified documents probe. That's the investigation where they came and got the articles at Mar-a-Lago. That's a big deal. You know, I feel like we talk so much about Donald Trump being in legal trouble, and he has all these cases still swirling around, that it almost seems like a nothing, but it's not a nothing. It's a big deal. One of those charges is under the Espionage Act. He's charged with obstruction of justice, destruction or falsification of records, conspiracy, and false statements. It is a huge deal. It's going to throw all kinds of wrenches into the election. Donald Trump made the announcement before we had any way of verifying that, and saying he had to be in court on Tuesday, and that he was going to be facing charges. And immediately, within hours of him posting that on social media, he started fundraising off of it with his little victim song and dance that he likes to do, you know, where he makes it all about his victimhood, his martyrdom. And in all caps, I am an innocent man. You could describe the 45th president as a lot of things. Innocent is not one of them on any level. Now, you know, of course, he deserves his day in court. We are all technically innocent until proven guilty. But I'm just saying, as a character, as a person, as a business person, a politician, a man dealing with women, innocent is not an adjective that he has earned in any way. Think about this, that he's been under investigation by the Department of Justice since shortly after he left the White House in 2021. And he is supposed to be in court in Miami on Tuesday. Now, there are some analysts that are saying the Department of Justice may have started with Florida because the Trump lawyers are expected to argue that, you know, the venue is important. Like, oh, we need to move this out of New York. We need to move this out of D.C. or whatever. We need to move it out of Atlanta. But they can't make that argument in Florida. However, Florida is chock full of Trump judges. So it may work in his favor. That said, there is still an ongoing investigation in D.C., or a connected investigation, I should say, which means there's a possibility that the former president could also have counts facing him for this same situation, this same document scandal in D.C. as well. And he's definitely going to argue to move it out of there because there's too many black folks in D.C. He doesn't want that smoke. But now remember, he's already been criminally charged in New York by Alvin Bragg over the Stormy Daniels scenario. And a lot of pundits were complaining, oh, why didn't they bring this case first? It's a weaker case. Many attorneys that I've talked to and legal analysts that I've read don't think it's that weak of a case at all. But now you've got the Department of Justice charging a U.S. president. And it's also the second time the former president has faced criminal charges this year. And also he still has more charges pending. Not just the D.C., of course, the investigation in Georgia under Fani Willis, which is the election interference, the election cheating, basically, case, which has been now expanded to other states where he tried to meddle, including Texas and D.C. And then you have another case in New York. So we could see 3, 4, 5. I don't think more than 5. 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 criminal indictment. Well, no, one of those I think is civil. So, and let's not forget, he has been found liable for sexually assaulting a woman. This guy's, by the end of 2023, this guy's rap sheet could be longer than, his toilet paper roll. I mean, really, we're talking about, we're in new ground. Like, when you're talking about a president, a former president who's now running for president again, that's already an anomaly, right, historically. Now a president who was the president who could be facing multiple felony charge, who is facing already multiple criminal charges, and has another civil suit circling around with the E. Jean Carroll situation. But we also now know that because of the way the rules are for the presidency, he could actually be convicted, which is highly unlikely it would happen that quickly. But if for some miracle it did, he could still be the president with multiple felonies. He could be the president from Rikers Island. Not that he would go there. He'd go to the Mar-a-Lago cushy jail. But he could actually be the president of the United States from prison, because there's nothing that says you can't. You can't be a cosmetologist in most states with a felony, right? You can't, work at Best Buy, but you can be president of the United States. And there's definitely an asterisk there, because trust and believe, if you're black and you got a misdemeanor, you probably won't be president of the United States. So the caveat is, if you can win with multiple felonies, convictions, even if you're in jail, you can govern. And we know how that plays out for black or Latino or anyone else in this country with any kind of record. Even someone, even a college, disciplinary measure can keep you out of the White House if you're not white. But if you are Trump, we are in uncharted territory. Love to hear your thoughts on this and more. The Supreme Court's big decision on redistricting. We'll talk about that. Take your phone calls when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
The party of the summer is back. The Hollywood Bowl Jazz Festival returns on June 17th and 18th. with an incredible lineup curated by Kamasi Washington and Herbie Hancock. See Kamasi himself, Belle Biv DeVoe, West Coast Get Down with Raphael Sadiq and Leon Bridges, St. Paul and the Broken Bones, Samara Joy, Diggable Planets, Poncho Sanchez, Aziza, The Soul Rebels with Big Frida, and many more. Hosted by Arsenio Hall. Get your tickets now at HollywoodBowl.com. Hollywood Bowl, forever summer.
If you're a business owner or lead a nonprofit that's between 26 and 49 employees, please listen. Blendistry is proud to announce a new program whereby small businesses and nonprofits may qualify for reimbursement of COVID sick leave expenses incurred in 2021 or 2022. This program is administered by the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. Eligibility criteria apply and funding is limited. For more information, visit covidpaidsick.com. If you're a business owner or lead a nonprofit that has between 26 and 49 employees, please listen. Lendistry is proud to announce a new program whereby small businesses and nonprofits may qualify for reimbursement of COVID sick leave expenses incurred in 2021 or 2022. This program is administered by the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. For more information, visit covidpaidsick.com.
The Los Angeles Public Library proudly presents the June Jubilee inaugural event commemorating Juneteenth. Join us on June 10th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Central Library as we celebrate the rich Black culture in our city. This free event will include a special opening celebration featuring African drums procession and a libation ceremony at 9 a.m. along with speakers, workshops, live entertainment, and more for the whole family. Parking is only $1 with a validation. Learn more at lapl.org/Jubilee. That is lapl.org/JUBILEE.
Before new Cascade Platinum Plus, I would pre-rinse all my dishes because my old detergent just wouldn't get them clean. But now, I do dishes differently. A no pre-wash, no rewash, money-back guaranteed kind of different. Because Cascade Platinum Plus has double the grease-fighting power of Dawn built right in, with twice the scrubbing power, giving me a clean that lets me break all the dish rules. I just scrape, load, and I'm done. Yep, so clean. With Cascade Platinum Plus, I dare to dish differently.
Welcome back to the quickest podcast ever, brought to you by Kohl's.
Today's topic, Father's Day.
Yeah, I may have procrastinated a bit on getting my dad a gift.
Honestly, same. But Kohl's saved the day. I found great gifts my dad will love every day, like Nike athleisure, stylish shirts, some grilling go-tos.
Wow, your dad is one lucky guy.
What can I say? He raised a smart kid. Wait, where are you going?
Off to Kohl's to make my dad proud.
See store or Kohl's.com for details.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
With a lot of people, myself included, caught off guard by the Supreme Court's decision yesterday to basically uphold what's left of the 1965 Voting Rights Act. And, it wasn't unanimous. In fact, Clarence Thomas wrote a really, unhinged dissent. But basically what they're saying is that, the Alabama congressional districts, which made it so that there was only one majority black district, were not kosher within the bounds of the Voting Rights Act. It was a 5-4 ruling, right? So that's crazy. Because had they gone the other way, it would have basically trashed the Voting Rights Act. As it is here, they didn't specifically affirm it or give it any kind of longevity. What they said is that in this case, it seems like race is a factor. That, in Alabama, where it's 26% black, to have just one majority black district is a travesty. What they're doing now is they're going to have two, which still seems kind of sad. But it's definitely good news because it keeps the Voting Rights Act, on life support, basically. And John Roberts is the one that the supposed head justice is the one that once again had a moment, because he has not been known as a champion of voting rights. In fact, he's been very much an advocate of limiting voting rights. Clarence Thomas has a nerve to write in his dissent, like basically saying that we're codifying discrimination based on race into voting. He's trash. Oh, whoops, I'm not supposed to call names. He's acting like trash because what you're saying is that ensuring that black people have the right to vote is discrimination on the basis of race. In any case, this is a big victory, a surprising victory, and again one that barely squeaked by. So they will now, and the good news, what's good about this is that the Supreme Court's decision won't just apply to Alabama. It means that some other places that have been doing some funny business with their redistricting in order to limit black voting power may also have to change their lines. Louisiana is one of those states. Where, a Republican-controlled state government goes in and draws maps that disenfranchise black voters. And, South Carolina could also see some impact of this decision. They have a case in front of the Supreme Court about gerrymandering House districts to, wait for it, dilute black voting power. So this could be good news with some wide-ranging repercussions. Let's go to Molly Bell from the city of Compton. Molly Bell, you there? Hello?
Yes, reparations and memory. I had it on mute because you made me laugh 2 times out loud. You said that Trump's charges was longer than his toilet paper roll. And I had that image in my head.
Sorry.
That was just terrible. Anyway, reparations in memory of our ancestors. God bless morning to you, Dominique, KBLA family and delegation, and of course the chat room. I know this is black music, and I know you're doing West Coast rap, but didn't the Temptations say people moving out, people moving in? Why? Because of the color of my skin. Run. You just can't hide. It's a ball of confusion. And today, this week, seemed like a ball of confusion. First, I just want to say, where's Al Gore when we talk about the air quality in New York? I saw pictures. Of it. Is it that dense?
I mean, I think it's what we went through here. What was it, last year and the year before? Yeah, well,
I've seen the fires before when we had it, but I don't remember. I remember one year where we had ash on the roof.
Yeah,
so maybe
on our cars. Their smoke is coming from Canada. Our smoke is coming from Northern California and sometimes the mountains around here. So, we know what they're going through. I remember when my mom was, she was in the nursing home, they had to bring her extra oxygen. They had to put her on oxygen because the air was so bad from those fires up north.
Wow. Anyway, when I saw it the other day on the news, and the pictures that they showed, you could always see a silhouette of New York. I want to say that about and I remember Al Gore, although he was the first one that I remember when we used to call George Bush President-elect because of those hanging chads. We still don't believe that Bush really won that election, but we did what was right, and so did Al Gore, and say he won, but we still call him President-elect. And I just wanted to say, when I was a little girl, right quickly, we used to go to the library, and we would check out books. And if you didn't bring them back on time, and they knew the book you checked out, then you get a fine. And I know you probably, for those who never had to go through this, the fine could amass to a lot of money. And the library knew which book they checked out. How can Trump take classified information and don't be fined? When I know you don't like spankings or whippings, but when I didn't take the books back or didn't know what I did with it, I got a whooping when my mother had to pay what, but sometime maybe $4 or $5. But back in those days, that was a lot of money for, when you have 6 kids and all of them checking out books and not bringing them back in time. So how could he get away with this, Dominique? How can he get away with this? So now he's going to be charged. I'm still not sure that everything is going to come out right. I just don't know. And I think that I'm glad that you brought up about striking down the Alabama congressional map. That was a good thing that they did. But this year was my first year ever voting for Congresswoman Maxine Waters because they redistrict Compton's map. Barragan was my congresswoman, so I don't know really what's going on. And when you have to vote to pass a subject, I think, I don't know, and maybe someone know better, if he goes to jail, does the Secret Service got to go to jail too?
I believe they would, and because I remember I read something about that. I believe they would because I remember reading an article about the conversation about who has to have that duty. But he wouldn't go to a regular jail. He'd be at Mar-a-Lago with an ankle bracelet or something, or you know what I mean, or he'd be at whatever the cushiest of the cushy. But I do believe that because they have to have Secret Service detail. They can't just he's in jail. No, he'd last 5 minutes in jail, if in a real jail.
Well, all they need to do is just, since he always wanted to build a wall, just give him some bricks, let him build a wall, and he stay inside that wall, and we pass food to him through a little.
Oh, you want to put him in one of those border cages like they had the kids in?
Yeah, and what's those silver blankets called? Well, you said you brought up the toilet tissue.
Well, yeah, and he'd be sitting on a golden toilet reading his long old list of his rap sheet. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I just wanted to call that. I had a chance to say a few words to Miles. I told him I still didn't want anybody that beat the Lakers or in that league to win. So somebody in the chat room says, what's the schedule? I haven't looked up the schedule, but I think they play today. And I told Miles, I said, a lot of things this year and this week, sometimes my ego just won't leave me alone. And so I've got to work on that. This has been a fun week. It's been a strange week. And don't forget those, Marcus Savage. I don't know his number for those who are doing construction. I think you gave his job, what he takes care of. But for those looking for good work, Marcus Savage is the one to call. You used to have him on the other show.
Well, he used to call in. He just called in. I don't know his number or anything like that. But I'm sure Big John will take care of Carl and make sure he gets, pushed in the right direction.
Okay, well, that was all. Had a pretty good doctor's report yesterday.
Yay.
And this month is June. This month is hectic. You take all your vitamins and do everything you're supposed to do, Dominique, because you have been busy. Yes, you have, but you've had the same smile. I couldn't see the bottom of your T-shirt. What is it your T-shirt says?
It says Equal Justice Now. This is Ben Crump's organization, the civil rights attorney, trying to represent a little bit here as Mr. Crump defends the family of another black person murdered, and we'll get into that after news, traffic, and sports. Yeah.
Okay, so all you prayer warriors out there, you know what you've got to do. I mean, for real. You have got to keep fasting. Maybe we could pick a day, one morning, Dominique, we could just, even if we just fast for 7 hours, or something, and we could all do it together doing first things first with Dominique DiPrima, maybe for 3 hours, just doing your 3 hours, because that's when we would be eating. And
Right. Okay, let's talk about it. We'll talk about it. I'm open to that. I'm always open to suggestions. Molly Bell. Yeah, go ahead.
Keep fasting, praying, the struggle continues, and always to God be the glory. And thank you for my extra time today. Bye-bye.
And the games tonight, by the way, 8:30 Eastern Time, Nuggets at Heat, Game 4. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. South Carolina African-American Senator Tim Scott is defending former President Trump. During an interview with Fox News, Scott said he'll pray for the nation and that justice prevails. He added that every person is presumed innocent and that we have seen the weaponization of the Department of Justice against the former president in recent years. Scott was the first GOP candidate to respond to the indictment news on camera. Half of American adults say they disapprove of affirmative action. A Pew Research Center survey shows that half of Americans don't think colleges and universities should take prospective students' racial and ethnic backgrounds into consideration. A Supreme Court decision is expected this month on the issue based on 2 cases involving Harvard and the University of North Carolina. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and VINnews.com.
Calling all night owls, Buffalo Wild Wings is open late. Fill up on some tasty apps with an ice cold tall beer starting at $4. Late night food and drinks start at $4 from 10 till close at B-Dubs. Limited time at participating locations. Offers, days, and times may vary. Drink responsibly. Void where prohibited. Tax and fees extra.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Miami Heat have a major problem heading into Game 4 tonight in the NBA Finals. The Heat are down 2-1 to the Denver Nuggets, and they need to come up with a master plan to deal with the history-making tandem of Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. Both had 30-point triple-doubles in Game 3, the first time 2 teammates did that in the same game in NBA history. If the Heat don't figure out how to handle Jokic and Murray, this series could be over in 5 games. Jokic has 10 triple-doubles in this year's playoffs. He's on the verge of becoming the first player to lead his team in scoring, rebounds, and assists in the NBA Finals. Game 4 tonight at 5:30 on ABC. The Dodgers shut out Cincinnati to snap a 4-game losing streak. The Dodgers are in Philadelphia today for the start of a 3-game series. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Everybody in the house make some noise!
Is there a better day of the year to celebrate the anniversary of the only unapologetically progressive talk station west of the Mississippi, focused on issues that impact the black community?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
We think not. A station that amplifies black voices like yours with hosts and guests who look and sound like you. Celebrating our 2nd anniversary on Juneteenth. We're KBLA Talk 1580. And you ain't seen nothing yet. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
The pandemic may be over, but many Angelinos could be at risk of losing the place they call home. It's important to know your rights as a residential renter in the city of LA. Did you know eviction protection still exists for unpaid COVID-19 rental debt that was due before March 31st, 2023? And that you have 5 days to respond to an eviction notice, also known as an unlawful detainer. Learn more about your rental rights at housing.lacity.org. Be informed, be protected, be at home. JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, in downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
Are you looking to steer your career in a new direction? Driving for Culver City Bus can be your ticket to a long-lasting career with excellent benefits and paid training. Culver City Bus is looking for customer service and safety-minded bus operators to join the growing team. Culver City Bus offers on-the-job training starting at $19.10 per hour, uniform allowance, and health benefits. Culver City Bus is a great employer. Let Culver City Bus connect you with an essential service job. If you enjoy driving, seek real opportunities for career advancement, and passionate about making a difference in the community, then you are invited to join the Culver City Bus team. Start your journey today by submitting an application at culvercity.org/jobs. For more info, visit culvercitybus.com or call live customer service operators at 310-253-6500.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive, KBLA Talk 1580.
We do have a lot to talk about. Molly Bell, I said the game's tonight. Miles, who you got?
Who do I got or who do I want?
Who do you want?
I really, really, really want the Heat to win.
Okay.
I really like Jimmy Butler. I like how they're playing. I'd love for him to get a title. I like Eric Spoelstra. I like the culture. I like the fact they got a bunch of undrafted players. But for that reason alone, I'm putting money on the Nuggets.
Well, so if the Nuggets win tonight, that means it's 3-1, which means it's almost impossible for the Heat to come back.
Right. So if the Nuggets win tonight, they're up 3-1 going back to Denver. Everything's in their favor. I don't think Miami could win 3 straight against this team.
Right.
So, yeah, I think Miami needs to win tonight. And maybe they could steal the last 2, but a win tonight for sure is what Miami needs.
And you were telling me they were really low-seeded, like no one even expected them to go this far.
So, now after the bubble for the COVID, they started having the play-in round where you'd have to, like the lower 2 or 3 or 4 seeds would play for those last 2 positions.
Right. Miami
had to have a play-in game to make the playoffs. They were a play-in team.
So, yeah, I mean, there's an underdog story there, even though the Nuggets have never won. So tonight is kind of like the do or die. If you're into the NBA Finals, be a good day to watch. Thanks for that insight, Miles.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Go Heat.
Yeah, I understand Molly Bell's point. She doesn't want anyone to beat who beat LA to win. And I've always had the opposite philosophy. If you beat my team, you better go all the way. But now that you have enlightened me, I'm kind of thinking, well, yeah. Plus, a lot of people, a lot of black people, a lot of Latino people in Florida, quiet as it's kept. Speaking of Florida, I don't know. We've had so much going on that I haven't gotten to some of the stories. As Mustafa pointed out, that are important. Sometimes you can't cover every single bit of news, but this is a crazy story. This woman, Susan Louise Lawrence, she killed her neighbor, a black woman. She's white. She killed her neighbor. I guess they had been having a long-running dispute. This woman is one of those angry, I don't even want to call her a Karen because she's like one of those angry people that hates kids and always wants kids to play without making any noise and putting up no trespassing signs on lawns that were actually community play space, community, like the green space between 2 different apartment complexes, which is shared common green space. She would put up no trespassing signs there. She would yell at the kids and call them the N-word. Well, now, she was arrested. And it took some days because they said, the authorities said they were looking into whether or not this was a stand your ground case. Thank you, Florida. But sheriff said no. The Marion County Sheriff's Office said no. There was no stand your ground application. This was just a straight killing. And now apparently this woman has admitted to detectives that she called those children the N-word. And one of the kids told the deputies that the night this woman killed their mother, shot their mother, she said, "Get away from my house, you black slave." Now, if this right here is not charged as a hate crime, I don't know what can be. Get away from my house, you black slave. These are little kids. She appeared in court yesterday by video. She's been charged with first-degree felony manslaughter with a firearm, culpable negligence, battery, 2 counts of assault. And she, she was just like a preliminary hearing where she answered questions from the judge and had a public defender appointed to her. She entered a plea of not guilty. She claimed that the woman knocked on her door so hard that it shook the walls and that the woman threatened her life. Well, what caused this mama to go to her door? Apparently, this woman threw something at the children out the window. It landed on one of the children's feet. Any mom would do that, right? You're going to show up and you're going to say, "Hey, you don't get to throw stuff out the window at my kids." The mama, Ajike Owen, she was 35. She had 4 children. And the neighbor says she's been complaining for years, saying that the kids don't respect her. Well, they don't have to respect you. They're not your kids. And kids play. That's what they do. The children, the youngest one is 3, the oldest one is 12. She over here calling them black slaves. She claims, the white lady, Lawrence, she claims that the children threatened to kill her in the past. I sincerely doubt that. But even if they did, a 3-year-old or an 8-year-old offers to kill you, it says they're going to kill you because you messing with their mama, and you really think they're really going to do that. She said she had a headache. The kids were out screaming and yelling and running around. That's what kids do. And so what she did, the kids were playing basketball. She actually threw a pair of roller skates at them. The roller skates are heavy. Hit one of the kids on the foot, and that's when the mama came. And this lady, Lauren, she says the mom threatened to kill her. Again, I doubt that. She might have threatened something. You throw something at my kid, possibly breaking their foot, I might come back to you not too happy. There's more coming out about the case, of course, but I'm glad to see at least an arrest has finally been made. And with this admission that she called the children N-words and slaves, I don't see how they can avoid a hate crime enhancement here. This is one, thus the shirt that I'm wearing today on YouTube, youtube.com, KBLA 15. Attorney Ben Crump, who seems to be everywhere, says this is not a difficult case. He asked them to zealously prosecute. And multiple neighbors were aware of this feud between the two of them, and that apparently this lady had been bothering lots of other children in the neighborhood, not just the Owens children. In fact, neighbors said they knew this woman was calling kids vile names just because they were playing out in the grass, cussing at kids, calling them N-words. So I was happy to see that, unlike Trayvon Martin, detectives said that this woman, Lawrence's actions were not justifiable under the stand your ground law. And that is why she was arrested. Now the grandmama, Pamela Diaz, says she's going to have to raise those 4 grandchildren on her own. Because this lady had a headache and couldn't stand kids yelling when they play. That's what kids do. It's what they're supposed to do. Playing while black. I'm glad they've got Ben Crump on the case. It is not too late to call me. 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. I'd love to hear from you on this and more. Another thing we didn't get a chance to cover this week, President Biden's money for the water crisis in Jackson, Mississippi. Take a look at that when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, can potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
Despite pushback from franchise owners, the Assembly passes fast food workers bill. Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News, brought to you by CaliforniaBlackMedia.org. Assembly Bill 1228, known as the Fast Food Franchisor Responsibility Act, authored by Assemblymember Chris Holden, was passed off the Assembly floor with 42 votes in favor of the legislation, while 22 members of the Assembly voted against the bill. Some reasons Holden and supporters of this bill find it necessary is due to the reported wage theft of fast food workers, claims of violence at work, sexual harassment and assault claims, denied sick days, intense heat, poor workplace safety practices, as well as claims of retaliation for speaking out. Holden was reported saying, quote, "This does not imply that all fast food franchises mistreat their workers. It's clear that we must ensure our fast food workers are able to thrive in their workplace and their communities," end quote.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Have you faced discrimination in Los Angeles? The City of LA Civil Rights Department can help. They investigate private sector discrimination in LA City, in commerce, education, employment, and housing. If you're facing discrimination, submit a complaint online for free at laisforeveryone.com. That's laisforeveryone.com, or call 213-978-1845.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Somebody somewhere, maybe KBLA, needs to keep a running list of the accomplishments of President Joe Biden. It's really the White House's job to do that. I get that. But particularly when it comes to things impacting Black America, because we like to repeat the talking point that President Biden wouldn't be in office if it wasn't for Black people, which is true. But the rest of that talking point is that now he's gotten there and he hasn't done anything for us. He hasn't made good on those promises. And that is largely not true. Could he do more? Of course, any president could. I'd love to see him step up and say reparations now, or at least sign an executive order around H.R. 40. That said, we do have a Black woman vice president who is running with him again. Which means, with him being the oldest president in office, that's quite a gamble. It would have been more convenient, well, not really, because Black people would have rebelled, but in some ways to get someone else on his VP ticket, because that is what Republicans are planning to. They're already signaling it. That's how they're going to run against Biden, that you're really voting for President Harris because of Biden's age. On top of that, we have a Supreme Court justice. He promised, he delivered. The so-called bipartisan infrastructure project is going to significantly impact Black people, particularly around those good union jobs, the kinds of jobs that we need to uplift our communities, living wage jobs, the investment in green infrastructure. If you track environmental racism, you know that those kinds of toxic environmental problem sites tend to be in black communities, and to some degree, to a large degree also in Latino communities. Again, the cleanup of these sites, the reversal, the investments in green energy disproportionately impact black people. Again, Biden delivers. And I could go on. If the extreme court does not overturn his student loan forgiveness, again, you will see a disproportionate, a bigger impact on black people, because the people who are Pell Grant recipients get more, because I say we because I did get a Pell Grant, but mine's long since been paid off. But we are more likely to be poorer, so we're more likely to qualify for the Pell Grant, which means we are likely to get a larger, the $20,000 rather than the $10,000 loan forgiveness. These are all things that deliver on promises made on the campaign trail that particularly impact black people and that impact low-income people. You can give it the side eye if you want to. You can swallow the talking point that both parties are the same. But I guarantee you, Donald Trump would not have appointed Ketanji Brown Jackson, nor would he have Kamala Harris as his running mate, nor would he have come up with $115 million to invest in order to rebuild the water infrastructure of Jackson, Mississippi. How did that happen? You've got a Democratic mayor in Chokwe Lumumba, a majority black city with 150,000 folks living there. But the Republican, mostly white Republican state, Mississippi legislature has repeatedly over decades defunded the infrastructure of that black city. And now we've seen the terrible, terrible results. So the Biden administration is stepping up $115 million. It's part of money that was moved through Congress last year. And this is, this is a very specific example of the difference between Republicans and Democrats. Remember, the water system basically fell apart after flooding. People didn't have clean water, safe water for days and days. This is last summer in August. And now the Biden administration is stepping up. I heard some speculation. Well, he's doing it because of the election. He's doing it because of this. He's doing it because of that. All that might be true, but he's doing it. And he's supposed to do it because of the election. We voted him in. He's going to need us again. That's called being responsive to your constituents. There's nothing wrong with it. And again, I celebrate this as a victory in overriding the state legislature to have the feds ride in and fix the structure so that these crooked Republicans cannot block a black city from having fresh water. Man, I feel like this should be a conversation for the 1890s. Yeah, we're your ancestors' favorite radio station. We are KBLA, Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCES scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, in downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
Yeah, and I want to say that 115 million we're talking about is on top of the money that will come to Jackson and other cities and states as part of that bipartisan infrastructure package. Now, it's also worth noting that this money is starting to move in immediately and is being overseen by not just the courts, but also the only Black congressman in Mississippi, Representative Benny Thompson. So this is a concrete outcome of the voting that we do. And I think we need to do a better job in tracking those so that we can celebrate the victories. This is definitely a victory. Going to Charles from 1-800-UNITE-US. Good morning, Charles.
Yes, good morning, Dominique. I want to congratulate our good friend Malik Muhammad on his new book, The Heart of a Black Man. And, he has 2 Black bookstores. It'll be this Saturday, 5 to 7 at the Westfield Mall. It used to be called the Fox Hills
You know
Mall.
you're doing a commercial on my airways right now, right? So you owe Tavis some money right now.
Okay. And I want to compliment the Black woman, Talisha Berry, that published the book. It's always good when our Black men and women work together.
Which we mostly do. I mean, I think it's people like to make so much about this conflict between a Black man and a Black woman. Mostly we work together. That's mostly what we do.
And let's talk about it.
We raise families. We have businesses. We have fun. We party together. I mean, yeah, don't believe the hype.
Oh, yeah, and KBLA is a prime example of that.
It is. It is. Absolutely it is. We've got powerful men and powerful women working together to deliver something that was missing in the Black community and in the progressive world.
That's right. That's right. And it's on us. It's on us to do it.
Yeah. Hey, Charles.
Hey,
go ahead.
Thanks for playing that Tupac song about being trapped. A lot of good stuff in that song.
That was Miles Lowe. And this is a big deal for Charles to say this because he's kind of a rap hater. You're a rap hater, Charles. You think that rap music is mostly, destructive. And by the way, that's our conversation next hour is about West Coast hip hop.
Ah, okay. I'll be listening in.
So are you still a rap hater, Charles?
Well, it depends on the song. There's a lot of great songs out there, but the songs that's strictly about killing Black people, using the N-word, that I'm all and disrespecting Black women. I'm just totally against that. And then also I found out that these record companies, most of them are not Black owned, and they're even taking out life insurance on Black rappers these days. So many are getting killed at such a young age.
That doesn't surprise me. I wonder who started that. I'm just going to leave that there. But Charles, I think it's important for people to know the 1-800-UNITE-US is not just a slogan. That's an actual number you can call if you want to find out where you can buy a thing or get a service from a Black-owned company. Charles can help you out, right?
Thank you, Dominique. I like you already.
That was also a commercial, but it was a public service announcement, so it was free of charge. So you won't get a bill for that one, Charles.
All right, and it's a free service, too.
Absolutely. It's a service that you've been providing for a long, long time. Before it was trendy, before there were apps, there was 1-800-UNITE-US. Not everybody's good on an app. You can just call Charles. I've done it before. Where do I find a Black party supply? Where do I find a Black-owned limousine service for my prom, my kid's prom? Where do I find a Black-owned catering company? Most of us know one of those. A Black electrician. The money that we spend that we don't even think about, we just call, 411 or go online and look up a company without even bothering to see if we're recycling our black dollars. We don't have to do that. We can be conscious about it, and without really making any extra investment, spending money we were already going to spend to fix our, washer and dryer or get our kids' prom party together, we can actually pull together momentum for black reinvestment, recycling of black dollars. And Charles, I commend you for really decades of work in making this happen.
Well, thank you so much, Dominique. And we're talking about over $100 billion a month. We spend over $100 billion a month in this country. That's
amazing. That's big money, big money. Charles, great to talk to you as always. It is time for news, traffic, and sports, and then all the hip-hop lovers and haters. Call me now. We're talking West Coast hip-hop history when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. South Carolina African-American Senator Tim Scott is defending former President Trump. During an interview with Fox News, Scott said he'll pray for the nation and that justice prevails. He added that every person is presumed innocent and that we have seen the weaponization of the Department of Justice against the former president in recent years. Scott and adults say they disapprove of affirmative action. A Pew Research Center survey shows that half of Americans don't think colleges and universities should take